when I'm starting with my cuttings, I don't get overly fussy to start with if I'm trying to grow something. So basically, just go with everything. Don't get too fussy. If you want to, you can plant them each in an individual pot, but I usually go with sticking them into, one pot all together, and those that actually make it, I then transplant. So in a scenario like that, I would actually take that, probably actually just trim that there. That's terrible job, but I plant both of those. I've completely lost the first one. But basically stick that in the dirt, probably up to about here. So these nodules, all of this around here, something's going to take root, and then that's those that survive. You'll see all your little leaves coming, and I'll show you in a few minutes what that turns out at. So when you've got a cutting like this, you can actually make like multiples out of it if you wish. Like you probably cut it there, maybe a little further up, trim it all down, like multiple options you can go with. Or you can basically stick it in like so and try and make a larger plant. It's better starting point. One thing that I always try to do, any leaf that looks even slightly unhealthy, get rid of it. But you want to really get it down to as few leaves as possible. Generally try to leave maybe one or two towards the ends, but that's pretty close to the only hard and fast rule I think that they actually have. You don't need to leave the leaves on, but it's where it gets most of its nutrients from, so you'll want to try to leave at least one there, just so it's got something to work with. Doesn't look too good, get rid of that one too. Okay. So there's a nice pile of cuttings trimmed back, and now I'm just going to stick them all into one pot, and I'll show you what that looks like once that's done. And there we go, we've got a whole heap of cuttings shoved into one pot. Definitely very overcrowded. I'm not too fussed about that at the moment. The idea from here, once you've actually shoved them in there, you want to give it a real good water in, make sure that it's, the holes that you've pushed in there are now filled back in. Keep it, reasonably moist, not ridiculous. And the idea here is that it's going to give me an idea. The ones that are going to survive will show signs of it. The ones that aren't going to make it will also show signs of it. And then I'll basically thin them out and start moving them into pots of their own. And yeah, that's basically essentially how it works. You can start them each individual pots. This is the lazy man's way of doing it. Basically just stick them all in, see how you go, and then separate them out from here. Yeah.